really quickly just going to go through what is entailed in your final U.S. history project for this year. So as you can see, I've got the Google Slides format that you guys have as well up here. Make sure as you're going through this, you read all of these little brackets here because they tell you exactly what to do. So for example, I would go in here and change it from, your name to Mr. Polking's artifact box. Bam. Now, for some reason, I typed an R in my own last name, which, not ideal, but we make it work. So, now that I have checked my spelling, as you should all do, we're good. We gave you an idea of a document to put in there, just, the Declaration of Independence. Obviously, when you choose a different document, you will delete that and put in your own as well. And each time you put in an image for one of your slides, you will take the artwork you used for that and put it on here as well. They don't all need to stack up or be rotated, but they should all be on this front page. And if you want to get creative with it and make kind of a different front page, as long as all of your items are shown, I'm not super picky on how you do it. Have fun with it within the scope of the project. So we'll briefly go through this stuff. So the first one is a government document. So let's try to avoid doing the Constitution or the Declaration of Independence. Get a little more creative. We've talked about enough documents from both before the American Revolution and afterwards that you've got a lot of stuff you can work with. So you're going to put in two terms and a quote, as well as this red one here is kind of the big one, is your explanation for why you chose it. Why is it significant? Why does this document that you've chosen demonstrate America to you? And then your citation. So where did you find that document? Where did you pull the quotes from? All that. So make sure you keep up on the MLA citation. That is a chunk of your grade for each one of these. And then you would put in your own image there. Next up, an amendment. We've got 27 of them. You can pull anything from the Bill of Rights. Don't just do the Bill of Rights as a catch-all. Pick one from there. So, the Third Amendment, no quartering of soldiers, all that. Awesome. So, two terms from it again. The background, so why did we pass that amendment? We didn't like the British staying in our, houses prior to the Revolution. Your explanation of why it matters, why that amendment is indicative of America, and then some picture of it. It does not need to be a picture literally of the amendment if there is something that is illustrating that amendment. So say, you want to do the 18th Amendment and you want to show people destroying barrels of liquor, you can do that too. Remember, citations. Supreme Court case. You've got a number of these. We've talked about more of them recently, but you can go back to my buddy, Supreme Court Justice John Marshall, and there's a ton of cases from first semester that we talked about as well. So if nothing springs to mind, look up important Supreme Court cases, and if you're still having trouble, get at me via email or come to one of the office hours we'll be doing over the next week or two, and I will help you find one. If you've got an idea and you're sort of, poking around it, let me know. But there's a bunch of Supreme Court cases you can work with. President. So say I'm editing this one. What's my rationale? So what are two events this president did while in office, and one quote from this president? Make it a real quote. Don't just do so say I picked James K. Polk. Here, I've copied my image. I'm going to go post it in here. So there's my dude, Jimmy Polk. I throw him in. I say for him, two of the four amazing things James K. Polk did, as we've established in class multiple times, he's my favorite president. I come up with some quote like, yo, I'm only running for one term and I'm going to be flawless. You put that real quote in there, again, not one you made up, and an explanation. You guys have heard this before. Remember, complete sentences when you're doing this. Remember, for your citations, do not use Wikipedia as a source. You can start out with it, but find a better source online than Wikipedia. Image. So this can be a picture. This can be a painting. I guess those are kind of your two options for historical images. I don't know what else you would do. If there's a short video, I guess, that was, taken, and make it so it's actually an important video and not just like this is a video of people in, Vietnam or World War II. Make it so that video is something that somebody familiar with U.S. history would recognize. Again, explaining in complete sentences, MLA citation, adjectives, emotions, that sort of stuff. Item. This can be anything. We've got the cotton gin here. It can be the atomic bomb. It can be television. The internal combustion engine in, a Model T Ford. Anything. So a physical thing is all I'm asking for here with item. So when you get through these first 6, technically you could, emphasis on could, be done. If you did those all flawlessly, you'd end up with a 60%. Presumably you want the 100% or at least, above a low D. That is where these last 4 slides come into play. So the first sort of optional slide is historical biography. Pick somebody here. So this is anybody that isn't a president that you feel is demonstrative of America. So think of all those names that we went through earlier this year and, listed out in class at the end of each chapter. You can pick really any of those, or, you can pick your own people. It's not like if you don't remember which ones we had, you're out of it. So let's see here. I'm looking at our list of people that, made our final, top 10. And so obviously we've got some presidents in there. We've got George Washington, we've got Jackson, we've got Polk, we've got Madison, we've got Jefferson and Monroe. But we also had people in there like Henry Clay. George Marshall is one I would say maybe take a look at. John Marshall, General Sherman, George III. So we've got all that sort of stuff. It does not have to be one of the ones we went over in class, though. So this one says just who is a picture, who is a person that, stands out as an American, and be able to explain why major events in that person's life. Quote, remember, your words, not Wikipedia's words. You don't write the same way. Next up is an important event. So my only real restrictions here, as I noted on the instruction sheet, don't do the entirety of the Civil War or the entirety of the Great Depression. Pick an event. So, a month or less. I'm throwing in month because you've got like the Siege of Atlanta and, the Siege of Hue in Vietnam. But, try to pick an event. Is it 9/11? Is it the Million Man March? Is it the failure of the Treaty of Versailles? Whatever. So, event. Obviously, with all of these pictures, you are picking your own and deleting the one that is currently in there. And, give me a little subtitle on it. Next up, something from pop culture. This is super vague, and I know we think of pop culture as modern, but Uncle Tom's Cabin was pop culture at the time. So you can go back into the 1800s without much of a problem here. But this can be an item, a person, could be a book, it could be a movie, it could be a song, it could be a singer, whatever. Could be a comic book. You name it. But, what is a result from that piece of pop culture? And why does that piece of pop culture matter? And then the last one is really anything you want it to be. So you can pick through any of the 9 previous categories. So pop culture, event, historical biography, not of a president, another item, another image, another president, a second Supreme Court case, a Second Amendment, a second government document, any of that stuff. So you pick, and assuming you finish all of these slides, you are in line to get an A+ on this. If you skip one slide, each one obviously is worth 10% of the grade on this final. So while technically optional, assuming you want a good grade, they're not really optional. As I said earlier, if you have any questions on this stuff, let me know. But otherwise, have fun with this stuff. Get creative. And obviously, double check your spelling, complete sentences, all that stuff. All right, folks, it's been fun. I will hopefully talk to you in our office hours over the next week and a half, 2 weeks here, and we can get through this. All right, have a good one. Bye.